So one of the biggest mistakes most guys make is they assume women think like them when it comes to attraction. For us guys, it's pretty simple. She's got good proportions, she's within our age range, she's at least a 5 or whatever your standard is in the face. Boom, there you go, you're attracted. Now, of course, some of you guys are a little bit more discerning in your selection criteria. Some of you gentlemen may prefer blondes. I know I've always been partial to short-haired brunettes and Latinas. And some of you guys just want crazy, so you'll do anything for a redhead. But seriously, for us guys, it doesn't take much to be attracted to a woman. Women, on the other hand, are looking at a whole other set of criteria. In fact, just last night, I'm reading a book, The Sun by Philip Meyer. It's an amazing novel and sadly a series with Pierce Bronson that was canceled way too soon. In any case, one of the protagonists, Jeannie McCullough, is meeting with her uncle, Phineas McCullough, one of the most powerful men in the state of Texas. Now, when she walks in to meet her uncle, she notices there's another guy in there. And based off the way he's dressed, she knows that he works in the oil fields, and as a rich Texas heiress, she normally wouldn't pay attention to this kind of guy. But she picks up on two things. One, her uncle Phineas, one of the most powerful men in the state of Texas, is treating this guy with respect. And the second thing is how confident the guy is about himself. It's at this point in her own mind that she decides there's something interesting about this guy, I gotta find out what it is. My point, gentlemen, is when it comes to attraction, women think differently. Now, gents, all the points I'm talking about here are thin slices. In case you don't know the term, thin slicing, aka the art of quick judgments, was made popular by the psychologist Malcolm Gladwell. Basically, this is the phenomenon when human beings make quick decisions about people based on limited information, small slices of behaviors and things they observe. Now, the psychological mechanism we're talking about here is heuristics. These are mental shortcuts that we use as human beings to be able to make sense of the world very quickly. Gents, I'll tell you, my goal for sharing this information with you is to help you become your best self and not shoot yourself in the foot when it comes to first impressions. So one of the first things a woman notices about a man is his presence. By presence, I mean his posture, the way he carries himself, his confidence. And this is very different than men. We usually zero right in on our target. Women, on the other hand, they're looking at how the other men react to you, in a sense, your social status. And there's a lot of wisdom to this, especially if they don't know you, maybe they know the others, but if they notice these other people are treating you with respect or they're ignoring you, that's a sign to her of where you fall in this particular setting. Now again, this is a thin slice. As I said, this is a quick judgment, so it could be completely wrong. But again, heuristics, it's all about shortcuts. It's all about making a quick decision with the limited info you do have. And gents, really quick, a mistake that you don't want to make is to adjust yourself in public. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about when you reach down there and you've got to move things around right in front of an audience. Now, gents, I hear you. You're not comfortable down there. You got to adjust the boys so they're lined up just right. Well, gents, might I suggest you check out today's sponsor, Sheath. For years, I've been talking about Sheath. They are my go-to underwear. And the biggest part of this is because of Sheath's unique pouch design where your jewels are treated like royalty. But seriously, gents, if you don't know the story, Robert, the founder, he was in the military, he was deployed, and he was dealing with chafing issues. In fact, he designed the first idea for Sheath when he was deployed, came back to the United States, and after leaving the military, launched this company, first to solve his own problem, and then he realized there are tons of guys out there that deal with the same issue. In fact, one of the cooler things, if you go over to their website, they are the official sponsor of the UFC. And I just love it, because think about it, if you're in a ring, if you're fighting, if you're sweating, you don't want your jewels flopping all over the place. So Sheath has been constantly tested in this extreme environment. I can tell you, as a runner, they're my choice for underwear when it comes to working out and even day-to-day wear. They've got a variety of different fabrics that is incredibly soft and it's incredibly durable. And gents, when you go over to their website, you're going to see that they've got a wide variety of styles when it comes to the inseam, when it comes to colors, when it comes to patterns. And if you're looking to save the most amount of money, I highly recommend that you build your own pack. My advice would be to grab your first pair, make sure you get the sizing and the fit right. And don't worry, Sheath has a great return and exchange policy. But yeah, once you got the fit nailed, go over to their website and get like 7 to 10 pairs. Seriously, gents, if you have never tried Sheath, you are missing out. Gents, they make some of the best underwear on the planet. And believe me, over the years, I have tested a lot of underwear. These guys are second to none. So to get the best deal on the web on the most comfortable underwear you're ever going to find, gents, use that link in the description of today's video. Go over to Sheath. Check them out. An amazing company, veteran owned. I'm proud to support them. And seriously, this is my go-to company when it comes to underwear. Now, the next thing a woman's going to notice about a man are his movements. So one of the first things we learned in the military is if you set off a trip flare, stop moving. The reason being is the human eye is very good at detecting that movement, and the more rapid the movement is, the easier it is to spot. Well, when it comes to engaging a woman, you want to have slow, smooth movements. You don't want to trigger her flight or fight response by moving at her quickly or coming off as nervous or unsure. So be careful of the twitching, be aware of any nervous tics that you may have, or the spinning of a pen with your fingers. Now, in this case of going up to speak to a woman or at least getting closer to her, you do want to move, but you want your movements to be slow. You want them to be steady. You want to think you're going to be moving like a panther, instead of moving way too quick, like a nervous madman that could trigger a fight or flight response when all of a sudden she's seeing a really nervous guy come right at her. The next thing a woman's going to notice is body shape and proportions. Now, in general, women are attracted to men whose shoulders are wider than their hips. However, if you don't have the body of Adonis, don't let it worry you. Studies have shown that for most women, physical proportions are not actually as important as they are to men. But still, you want to put your best foot forward, and that's why I recommend you wear clothing that works for your body type. Example, if you've got narrower shoulders or a little bit more weight around the midsection, wear a sports jacket. Wear an unstructured shirt jacket. Wear a jean or a leather jacket. What we're looking to do is build up the shoulders, slim up the waist profile, and elongate the torso. These things right here help you look more masculine, therefore more attractive. Now, another big advantage of a jacket is it has longer sleeves. Longer sleeves also help to draw attention to the hands. So it's a very primal thing. We see this in apes as well, but whenever females are being approached by males, they are looking at their hands and where they are. Straight up, based off the positioning of your hands, she can tell very quickly, are you a threat or are you friendly? By wearing a jacket, your hands are a lot easier to spot, and depending on the fit of the sleeves, it can even make your hands look larger. And a lot of women do look for men with larger hands.
Women.
Now, speaking of size, let's talk about the height issue. A lot of guys are worried, oh, I'm not over 6 foot, therefore I am sunk when it comes to being attractive. Well, yes, the height issue is a big issue, but it's more of an issue online. In person, the data is pretty clear. You just need to be a couple inches taller than her. Most women do prefer a partner that's a little bit taller than them. So in this case, again, to maximize height, jackets are going to build up the shoulders, are going to make you look taller. I do recommend you choose a shoe that maybe has a bit of a heel if you're a shorter guy. And that takes us right to the next item on the list. Women do notice shoes. Actually, all human beings notice shoes. And the reason we pick up on it is more cultural and historical. Going back over the last couple thousand years, shoes were one of the clear indicators of a person's wealth and social status. Historically, the only men that could afford really nice leather shoes were those with money. And just look around, look at anyone's footwear. What does that tell you about them? You're going to find a lot of men that are working outside. What are they wearing? Work boots. So that tells you a little bit about them. If you're a consultant, if you work in the banking industry, if you're a lawyer, you've got a particular pair of shoes that go with your suit. If I'm out running, if I'm going to the gym, my shoes are probably going to indicate that. Now, of course, we know this is not 100% accurate. There are many people without wealth that are wearing really nice shoes. There are guys out in California walking around barefooted with those barefoot looking shoes that are worth millions. But the reality is shoes are still something that a lot of women look at and they notice and they do pay attention. All right, he's got a little bit of style. Those are interesting. Those help him stand out from the crowd. And again, as I mentioned earlier, shoes with heels can help you look taller. So I do think there's something to be said about boots or about finding a pair of shoes that really enhances your overall look. Now, the next thing she's going to notice is eye contact, and are you able to keep it? Now, women use eye contact all the time is a very subtle way of showing that they're interested, or at least they like what they're seeing. As guys, we're sometimes a little bit more direct. We even get caught staring. But a lot of us have the bad habit of immediately looking down. I personally think it's a great exercise for any man out there to, whenever you make eye contact with people, to give them a smile. And make sure it's a genuine smile. But the goal here is to put the other person at ease. Yes, you've both noticed each other, and now you acknowledge them with a friendly gesture. Now, at this point, you get a little bit closer, and as you smile, she's probably going to notice your teeth. Now, you don't have to have perfect teeth, but you do want to make sure that you take care of your teeth, that they are relatively white. They don't have to be pristine. But women do take oral hygiene very seriously, probably in the same way that we do. I mean, seriously, do you want to lock lips with a woman that's got poor oral hygiene? Yeah. This one seems like a no-brainer, but take care of your teeth, scrape and brush your tongue, use a mouthwash, use a breath freshener. Yeah, make sure you're not scaring people away with that breath. Now, really quick, let's talk facial hair. Maybe you've got a handlebar mustache, you're completely shaven, or you got a full-on beard. The key with any of these styles is to make sure your grooming on your face is well taken care of. So if you shave daily, you get irritation, make sure you're using an aftershave balm that helps get rid of the irritation. If you've got a beard, as you know, some women aren't going to like it. Other women are going to be drawn to it. In any case, make sure it's taken care of. You're well groomed. You clean up around the neck area, you've got it trimmed. Now, you might have heard that some women are attracted to stubble. That is true. The studies on that are pretty clear. But here's the thing, that stubble isn't just wild stubble. That is actually well groomed stubble. It's consistent around the face and is actually more of a groomed look than just the result of forgetting to shave for about 3 or 4 days. Be well groomed. Don't let the forest on your face get out of control. Now, up to this point, I've talked about clothing on and off, but as you get closer, she's going to start to look at the entire outfit, basically your style. Now, there's a couple different schools of thought here. Some guys think that you need to wear what's known as a peacocking piece. This is something that helps you stand out from the crowd, that draws attention to you. I'm not a big fan of that theory. I don't want guys wearing a costume or wearing a piece that, in a sense, becomes, hey, that's the hat guy, or that's the guy with the bright shoes. No, instead, what I encourage is find your own personal style. Whether you want to go with a classic style, whether you want to go with a street style, maybe you're into prep style, goth, biker style, Starboy, clean aesthetic, K-pop. I don't know, because I don't know you, I don't know your style, but I do know that when you find clothing, it makes you feel like $1,000,000. Every time you put it on, you feel more confident. That's the type of clothing you want to be wearing, because people pick up when people are comfortable in their own skin. And that's what a woman's going to notice. When you are authentically dressed, you're being yourself, even in a crowd of people that are dressed very different, but you're comfortable because you know who you are, you know what you represent. So at this point, you're getting close. In fact, maybe in a crowded room, you're right next to each other, but you're talking to different parties, you're in different groups, but she's going to start to pick up on something because it's impossible to ignore. What am I talking about? I'm talking about fragrances that are so sexy and seductive. No woman can ignore. Guys, check it out right here. I've got a whole video on. And by the way, I know I didn't talk watches. I didn't talk about etiquette. I didn't talk about manners. I could have gone a lot longer with this video. If you want more of videos like this, let me know in the comments below and I'll create more. But yeah, you want to learn about fragrances? Check it out right here. She's going to love these.